Argentina is home to some of the richest late Cretaceous fossil beds in the world. Across its vast Patagonian landscapes, layers of rock preserve a snapshot of ancient ecosystems teeming with dinosaurs, reptiles, and early mammals. These geological formations offer not just bones, but clues about evolution, extinction, and the rise of modern biodiversity. From towering sauropods to snake-like reptiles with legs, the diversity is astonishing. Each formation reveals a different chapter in Earth's story, shaped by shifting climates and changing continents. In these videos, we'll explore several of these formations and the incredible fossils they hold. Let's begin with one of the most iconic, the Candeleros Formation. Located in the Neuquen Basin of northwestern Patagonia, this formation preserves a warm, semi-arid ecosystem of braided rivers and floodplains, once inhabited by giant sauropods, predatory theropods, and early snakes. Fossils of the lungfish genus Ceratodus have been discovered, revealing that freshwater habitats were widespread in the region during the late Cretaceous. It was a primitive lungfish capable of breathing air, allowing it to survive in temporary or oxygen-poor water bodies. Its presence suggests that rivers and floodplains in this area were seasonally variable, with periods of drought or stagnant water. Fossils of frogs and freshwater turtles have also been found, accompanying the rivers and lakes that once flowed through this region. The skull and vertebral column of Najash display primitive traits similar to those seen in other Cretaceous snakes. Features in the neck and tail of both Najash and Deinonychia provide key insights into how snakes evolved from lizard-like ancestors. Uniquely, Najash retained a sacrum and a well-developed pelvic girdle, structures lost in modern snakes and absent in all other known fossil snakes. Phylogenetic studies consistently position Najash as a basal branch of the snake lineage, separate from all living species. Sphenodonts thrived in this region in time due to isolated, stable ecosystems that favored their slow-evolving, specialized traits over millions of years. With some individuals reaching over 1 meter in total length, Priosphenodon is the largest known terrestrial sphenodontian. During feeding, the dentary teeth slotted between the maxillary and palatine tooth rows, which in turn with backward and forward motion of the jaw, serve to shred plant material. Remains of Priosphenodon are the most abundant of any terrestrial vertebrate at the sites it is found, and the lack of other herbivores found at the locality suggests that it may have been the only resident herbivore. Araripesuchus was a genus of small, land-adapted crocodiliforms, with species ranging from about 80 centimeters to 1 meter in length. They are distinguished by a uniquely bulged snout and smoother skull surfaces compared to most crocodiliforms. All species had large eyes and were covered in thin, lightly keeled osteoderms arranged in rows across the body. Their limb and joint anatomy, along with reduced aquatic features, suggest they were primarily terrestrial and more agile than modern crocodiles. Araripesuchus remains have been recovered from the continents of South America and Africa, suggesting a Gondwanan origin for the evolution of the genus. At that time, these continents were physically adjacent to each other. Argentina holds a large number of sauropod fossils, including some of the largest ever discovered. Limaysaurus was a medium-sized sauropod. Its teeth were curved, unlike those of Diplodocus, which were pencil-shaped. Another distinct characteristic of this sauropod is its phylogenetic relationship to Rayososaurus from Morocco. This discovery also supports the theory that there was a land bridge connecting South America to Africa 100 million years ago. The climate was mild and humid. In fossil remains of Limaysaurus, gastroliths have been found, which were used to help the stomach to grind food. The brain case of Campananeyen shows several distinctive features, including a poorly developed crista parodica and an unusually positioned facial nerve opening. Its quadrate fossa is 30 to 70% larger than in any other known rebechisaurid, and the jaw joint resembles that of Nigersaurus. Unlike most rebechisaurids, Campananeyen retained hyposphere hypantrum articulations between its vertebrae, with an ovoid, hollow hyposphere. The ilium was highly pneumatized, making it thin and delicate, yet reinforced by a unique dorsal alar arm on the sacral ribs. This structure likely strengthened the pelvis and supported powerful leg muscles, aiding terrestrial locomotion. Rayososaurus has been considered a medium-sized sauropod, with a body mass estimated at 9 tons. Specimens from Brazil were assigned to Rayososaurus in 2004, but this was based on the now-rejected inclusion of Limaysaurus tesonii in Rayososaurus, so the specimens would better be referred to Limaysaurus, although they might actually be fragmentary remains of Amazonsaurus. Named after the Andes Mountains, Andesaurus was a titanosaurian sauropod dinosaur from South America, but one known from only incomplete remains. This makes it hard to be certain about such things as a total size or even a preferred diet beyond just general plants. The vertebrae of Andesaurus though suggest that the genus was a basal titanosaur. Jakapil is a small, armored dinosaur recently discovered. It belongs to the group of thyreophorans, typically known for stegosaurs and ankylosaurs, but earlier members were small, bipedal and covered in spiky armor. Until now, these primitive forms were thought to have gone extinct by the mid-Jurassic, over 165 million years ago. The discovery of Jakapil challenges that view, suggesting some basal thyreophoran survived much longer than previously believed. At just 1.5 meters long, it had a short beak, small arms, a deep lower jaw and heavily worn teeth, indicating it fed on tough vegetation. Some researchers have questioned whether it truly belongs to the thyreophoran group, pointing out similarities to early ceratopsians instead. If that's the case, it could be the first definitive ceratopsian from South America, and a very strange one. Regardless of its exact classification, Jakapil represents a surprising and important discovery, shedding new light on the diversity and survival of armored dinosaurs. To date, Ekrixinatosaurus is without doubt one of the largest abelisaurid theropods that we currently know about, and even at the lower estimate of 10 meters long, it was still bigger than the far more famous Carnotaurus, which at the time of writing seems to have had a maximum size of 9 meters long. Because of the large size, Ekrixinatosaurus was probably a predator of other large dinosaurs in its ecosystem such as sauropods. Despite the large size, however, it was likely not the apex predator of its time and location, as the even bigger Giganotosaurus is also known from the same formation. Giganotosaurus was one of the largest known theropods, with an estimated length of over 12 meters and a massive skull reaching nearly 1.6 meters long. Unlike some other giant predators, it had a relatively lightweight, narrow skull built for slicing rather than crushing, equipped with sharp, serrated teeth ideal for cutting through flesh. Its long, powerful legs suggest it was built for bursts of speed, potentially allowing it to chase or ambush large prey. As an apex predator, Giganotosaurus likely hunted giant sauropods, either alone or possibly in loosely coordinated groups. Its brain was relatively small compared to its body size, but the olfactory region was well developed, indicating a strong sense of smell useful for tracking prey. Overall, it occupied a top ecological niche, playing a key role in regulating the populations of massive herbivorous dinosaurs in its environment. Bicentenaria was a small coelurosaur theropod whose fossilized remains were found in a bone bed containing multiple individuals of different ages, suggesting possible group living behavior. The bones appear to have been transported post-mortem, indicating they may not have died at the exact site of discovery. Some researchers believe the concentration of remains from a single genus supports social behavior, though others argue it could be coincidental. As a late-surviving coelurosaur, Bicentenaria fills an ecological gap between earlier giant theropods like Giganotosaurus and later abelisaurids. Alnashetri is a small non-avian coelurosaur. It can be differentiated from all other coelurosaurs in the possession of a low ridge on the distal end of the tibia, which separates the rostral surface for articulation with the astragalus from the outer face of the lateral malleolus and which extends up the shaft of the tibia dorsal to the tip of the ascending process of the astragalus. Further autapomorphy of Alnashetri is the presence of small notches extending ventrally from the collateral ligament pits at the base of the distal articular hemicondyles on phalanges. Buitreraptor was a small dromaeosaurid with several unusual features, most notably its long, slender jaws and hook-like, backward-curving teeth adapted for catching small, soft-bodied prey such as lizards and mammals. Unlike most of its relatives, it had a short, thick sickle claw, which may have been used more for pinning prey than slashing. Its teeth lacked large serrations but were still effective for gripping and cutting flesh. The skull's unique shape suggests it hunted in rocky environments, possibly seizing animals hiding in crevices. While no direct fossil evidence of feathers has been found, Buitreraptor is expected to have had some feather covering, based on what is known from closely related dromaeosaurs. The absence of preserved feathers is likely due to poor fossilization conditions rather than a true lack. Overall, Buitreraptor represents a more specialized, possibly agile predator in its ecosystem. Cronopio is the earliest known dryolestoid mammal from South America and is especially notable for its unusual dental features. It had long, slender jaws with two large, saber-like canines in the upper jaw, earning it the nickname, saber-toothed squirrel. Despite their dramatic appearance, these canines were not adapted for powerful biting, suggesting a more specialized function. The smaller, insectivorous teeth indicate a diet focused on soft-bodied prey. The enlarged canines may have been used for accessing hidden insects, disabling certain prey, or possibly served a display or mating-related purpose. The Huincul Formation represents a late Cretaceous ecosystem characterized by semi-arid conditions with seasonal rainfall, likely resembling a savanna-like environment. The landscape was dominated by open floodplains with scattered vegetation, like ferns and early flowering plants, indicating a relatively dry but vegetated climate. This formation is especially rich in dinosaur remains, including some of the largest known theropods like Mapiosaurus and massive sauropods such as Argentinosaurus. Other vertebrate fossils include crocodiliforms and turtles, offering a glimpse into the broader faunal diversity of the time. Trace fossils like coprolites and trackways also provide insights into animal behavior and movement. Rhynchosaurs are a group of ancient reptiles which flourished during the Mesozoic era but are now represented by only one living species, the tuatara of New Zealand. These reptiles are characterized by their unique skull structure, including a beak-like snout and acrodont teeth, fused to the top of the jaw. Kaikaifilusaurus is an extinct genus of rhynchocephalian. It is one of the largest representatives of this group. It is notable for its robust skull and teeth, suggesting it may have had a durophagous diet. Its presence in late Cretaceous deposits highlights the persistence of rhynchocephalians in South America long after they had disappeared from most other regions. Chakisaurus Huincul is a newly described genus of medium-sized herbivorous dinosaur discovered in 2024. This bipedal ornithopod measured approximately 3 meters in length and stood about 70 centimeters tall. Its most distinctive feature is a downward curving tail, an unusual trait among dinosaurs, which likely aided in balance and agility during rapid movement. Fossil evidence indicates that it had strong hind limbs and tail adaptations conducive to fast running, suggesting it relied on speed to evade predators in its late Cretaceous environment. Cathartesauria is a medium-sized herbivorous dinosaur with a long, lightly built, well-muscled neck, albeit with a somewhat limited range of dorsoventral movement. It has distinguishing characteristics in the vertebrae that ally it with Rebecosauridae, such as the bony laminae association and the pneumatic chambers in the cervical series. Being found in early late Cretaceous sediments, along with other Rebecosaurids, this find helps cement the notion that a subsequent extinction event wiped out these remaining diplodocoid dinosaurs, leaving Saltosauran titanosaurs to occupy the vacant ecological niche. Limaysaurus was also a rebecosaurid sauropod present in both the Candeleros and Huincul formations, indicating its long-term persistence in the region's ecosystems. Its presence across both geological layers suggests it was well adapted to the semi-arid, riverine environments of late Cretaceous Patagonia. As a mid-sized, long-necked herbivore, it likely exploited a wide range of vegetation, contributing to its ecological success over time. Sidersaura was a large rebecosaurid sauropod that measured up to 20 meters in length and weighed around 15 tons, making it one of the largest members of its group. Rebecosaurids are distinguished by unique dental features, and Sidersaura also had a robust skull and star-shaped hemal arches in the tail. Despite belonging to an ancient lineage, Sidersaura existed near the end of the rebecosaurid's evolutionary timeline, suggesting some early lineages persisted longer than previously thought. Its cranial features also show similarities with dicreosaurids, hinting at a more complex evolutionary history for these sauropods. Giganotosaurus was a large titanosaurian sauropod that belonged to Colossosauria, a clade that includes some of the largest land animals ever, such as Argentinosaurus. Unlike many titanosaurs, Giganotosaurus had relatively slender forelimbs and hind limbs, with a femur measuring about 1.9 meters in length. Its fossils were discovered in the Huincul Formation, an area not previously known for giant colossosaurs. Titanosaurs were highly diverse in South America during the late Cretaceous, dominating ecosystems much like hadrosaurs and ceratopsians did in the northern hemisphere. Giganotosaurus displays unique limb bone features, suggesting a greater morphological variety among titanosaurs than previously understood. Phylogenetic analysis places it within Colossosauria, closely related to Notocolossus and members of the Logenkosauria subgroup. Scientia argentina is a newly discovered sauropod. It represents the earliest known member of the Rebecosauridae family, a group of diplodocoid dinosaurs known for their unique teeth and, in some cases, tooth batteries. Its remains were uncovered at the base of the Huincul Formation near Villa El Chocón in Patagonia. This region preserves some of the last known diplodocoids before their extinction and captures a major faunal turnover in the mid-Cretaceous. After this period, sauropod diversity in South America became dominated by titanosaurs, marking a shift in ecosystem composition. Bustingariditon was a gigantic titanosaur sauropod that belonged to the group Lithostrotia and is closely related to Saltosauridae, according to phylogenetic analysis. Fossils of at least 4 individuals were found, with one specimen estimated to weigh 67 tons, making it among the largest known dinosaurs. This species coexisted with other massive sauropods like Argentinosaurus and Chukarosaurus, highlighting the exceptional sauropod diversity of that time. The Cenomanian to Turonian period in the Neuquen Basin was marked by a wide range of sauropod body sizes and tooth morphologies, possibly reflecting ecological niche partitioning. The discovery of Bustingariditan supports the idea that extreme gigantism evolved multiple times within the titanosaur lineage. The describing authors have identified some distinctive features about Chokansaurus. In the cervical vertebrae, the upper edge of the face of the posterior joint was hardly developed. In the first vertebrae there are very large secondary protuberances on both sides of the hyposphene. The central and posterior vertebrae have an additional crest located between the posterior crest that extends from the lateral protrusion to the vertebral body and the secondary crest running parallel to the main crest. The frontal vertebrae of the tail have a protrusion in the posterior hyposphenic secondary joint. Argentinosaurus is considered one of the largest land animals to have ever existed, with estimates suggesting it could reach over 30 meters in length and weigh between 60 and 100 tons. Its massive body was supported by thick, pillar-like limbs and an elongated tail that likely helped with balance. The vertebrae were remarkably large and pneumatic, reducing weight while maintaining structural strength. Like other titanosaurs, it likely had a small head relative to its body, with peg-like teeth adapted for stripping vegetation. Its enormous size may have served as a defense against predators, as few carnivores could challenge such a colossal herbivore. Additionally, gigantism in sauropods like Argentinosaurus could be linked to their highly efficient respiratory systems, similar to modern birds, allowing better oxygen intake to sustain massive bodies. The evolution of such giants in South America, especially in Patagonia, may be tied to ecological factors such as vast, open habitats, a warm climate, and abundant low-quality plant material that favored large gut capacity and long digestion times. Isolation on the Gondwanan landmass may also have encouraged unique evolutionary paths, including extreme body sizes. Ilocalesia was a medium-sized theropod. In 2010 Gregory Paul gave a length of 4 meters and a weight of 200 kilograms. It is characterized by features of the skull, namely of the quadrate and postorbital bones. The vertebral series also has distinctive characters setting it apart from other abelisaurs, such as reduced processes on the cervical vertebrae and dorsal vertebrae lacking pleurocoels. It was considered the most basal abelisaur described at the time, sharing characters, such as an expansion of the postorbital bone above the orbit and a flange of the same bone inside the orbit, but it was considered to retain primitive features for Abelisauria, such as an opening in the quadrate bone and a T-shaped postorbital. Tralcasaurus was a small abelisaurid theropod dinosaur, measuring about 4 meters long. It was notably smaller than typical abelisaurids like Carnotaurus or Abelisaurus, suggesting it filled a different ecological niche. Its fossil remains include parts of the jaw with teeth, long cervical ribs, and parts of the hip and tail, all showing diagnostic features of abelisaurids. Like its relatives, it was bipedal with short arms, hollow limb bones, and a muscular build, but its snout showed distinctive surface ornamentation, possibly indicating small horn-like structures. Tralcasaurus likely fed on small prey such as Chakisaurus, turtles and lizards. Scorpiovenator is an abelisaurid theropod, named after the live scorpions found at the excavation site. Like other abelisaurids, it had a short, thick skull adorned with bony ridges and tubercles, though the exact function of these features remains unknown. Scorpiovenator likely shared its habitat with other large predators like Ilocalesia and the massive Mapusaurus, possibly leading to niche partitioning among Cretaceous carnivores. The discovery of such a well-preserved skeleton is significant because most known predatory dinosaurs are represented only by isolated teeth. Matching teeth to specific species is challenging, but doing so allows paleontologists to map species distribution and longevity. Interestingly, the teeth of Scorpiovenator resemble some previously attributed to Carcharodontosaurids, suggesting potential misclassifications in past fossil records. If confirmed, this could revise our understanding of predator diversity in late Cretaceous South America. Meraxes is a remarkable Carcharodontosaurid theropod dinosaur discovered in 2022, notable for being the most completely known member of its group from the southern hemisphere. Its skull size rivals those of the largest known Carcharodontosaurids, and the holotype individual likely exceeded 9 meters in length. Analysis of its bones revealed that the dinosaur lived to about 53 years old, making it one of the oldest known large theropods. It reached skeletal maturity only 4 years before its death, indicating a long growth period. Despite parts of the skeleton being missing, its known features show similarities to Ekrixinatosaurus from North America. Meraxes was named after a dragon from the A Song of Ice and Fire series, famously adapted into Game of Thrones. Although only a partial skull fossil was found, the preserved frontal bone of Taurovenator displays unique features, including a pronounced crest and heavily textured bone surface. These traits suggest it had a robust skull and strong jaw muscles, ideal for subduing large prey. Like other Carcharodontosaurids, it was likely a bipedal predator with powerful hind limbs and relatively short forearms. Its cranial anatomy points to a capacity for deep, forceful bites, helping it to compete with other large predators in its ecosystem. The discovery of Taurovenator enhances our understanding of the diversity and evolutionary adaptations of apex predators during the late Cretaceous. Mapiosaurus was a large Carcharodontosaurid theropod, measuring around 12 meters long and weighing up to 6 tons, though slightly smaller than its close relative Giganotosaurus. It is distinguished from Giganotosaurus by unique skeletal features, such as the absence of a second opening in the quadrate and specific nasal bone characteristics. Fossil remains were found in a bone bed with at least 7 individuals of varying ages, which may suggest social behavior or a predator trap scenario. Some paleontologists propose that Mapiosaurus may have hunted in groups, potentially targeting large prey like Argentinosaurus. This would make it one of the few large theropods with evidence of gregarious behavior, though whether this was coordinated hunting or mob attacks is unclear. The site of discovery is interpreted as an ancient seasonal stream environment in an arid region. Mapiosaurus bones also show signs of pathologies, possibly indicating injuries or disease. An ontogenetic study revealed that juvenile Mapiosaurus retained certain ancestral skull openings that disappeared as they matured. This indicates heterochrony, a developmental shift that highlights the species' evolutionary adaptations. Gualecho was a medium-sized theropod dinosaur from northern Patagonia, weighing around 450 kilograms. It had notably small forelimbs with only 2 fingers, similar to Tyrannosaurus rex, despite not being closely related. The dinosaur is considered a mosaic species because it displays a mix of features seen in various theropods. Its closest resemblance is to Deltadromeus from northern Africa, suggesting possible convergent evolution. Gualecho adds to the growing evidence that reduced forelimbs evolved independently multiple times in theropods. This discovery helps paleontologists investigate why limb reduction occurred so frequently among large predatory dinosaurs. Aeonaraptor grew up to 6 meters long. Aeonaraptor has been considered as synonymous with the theropod Gualecho, described from the same formation, due to the similarities of their caudal vertebrae. If found to be true, the name Gualecho would have precedent. Aranciaga Rolando in 2020 performed a comparative analysis between Aeonaraptor and Gualecho, and found many differences between the two. Huincul is a newly identified Ceratosaurian theropod from the early late Cretaceous. It is known from fragmentary remains, including dorsal and sacral vertebrae, but displays a unique combination of anatomical traits. These features distinguish it from other theropods. Notably, it is more closely related to the Jurassic Elaphrosaurus than to other Cretaceous abelisauroids. This suggests that the Elaphrosaurine lineage survived in South America longer than previously believed. Oviraptor was a small, gracile theropod dinosaur about 1.3 meters long. It had long, slender limbs adapted for running and a velociraptor-like sickle claw on its second toe. Its arms showed bird-like features, particularly in the ulna, suggesting an evolutionary link closer to birds than to other known raptors. Unlike birds, Oviraptor was flightless, and its wing-like arms may have helped with balance while running, similar to modern ostriches. It shares close evolutionary ties with Rahanavis, another Paravian dinosaur, indicating they may form a new group of bird-like, ground-running theropods. These findings offer new insights into the diversity and evolution of bird-like traits among non-avian dinosaurs. The Bajo Barreal Formation is located in central Patagonia, primarily in Argentina's Chubut province. It dates back to the late Cretaceous period, approximately 95 to 85 million years ago. The climate was mostly semi-arid, with dry conditions punctuated by brief wet seasons. The landscape featured open plains, low hills, and intermittent river systems. Vegetation likely included drought-resistant plants such as ferns, conifers, and early flowering plants. These ecosystems supported a diverse range of terrestrial life adapted to seasonal environmental stress. New sauropods are still being discovered, dinosaurs that were very common in Argentina at the end of the Cretaceous. Catapentasaurus is a rebechisaurid sauropod distinguished by several unique features in its dorsal vertebrae. Its vertebrae were highly pneumatized, with unusual laterodiapophyseal fenestrae, extra openings that allowed air sacs to enter the transverse processes. A distinctive trait of Catapentasaurus is the division of the lateral pneumatic fossae by a bony ridge, a rare feature only otherwise known in Supersaurus. It also possesses two unique laminae in the vertebrae not seen in any other rebechisaurids. Additional unique characteristics include vertical ridges at the neural arch centrum junction and teardrop-shaped posterior vertebral surfaces. The partial skeletal remains that the Drusilla genus is known by have been seen to be indicative of a Loganchosaurian titanosaur. If this analysis is correct, then Drusilla would be the oldest known Loganchosaurian titanosaur. Drusilla is a large sauropod. The length of the scapula is 143 centimeters, 30% longer than that of Mendozasaurus, a close relative. Campanoneyen is a dubious genus of sauropod dinosaur, originally named Campilodon in 1929 but later renamed due to the name being preoccupied by a fish. The name means bent tooth and refers to the curved shape of its teeth, with the species honoring paleontologist Florentino Ameghino. Fossil evidence is limited to a single maxilla with 7 teeth. It likely lived around 95 million years ago during the Cenomanian stage and has been estimated to reach about 20 meters in length. Campanoneyen is generally considered a possible titanosaur, though its fragmentary remains lead some researchers to regard it as a nomen dubium. Sarmientosaurus had very large eye sockets, meaning that it may have had better vision than other titanosaurs. Based on the ear and neck tendon, it most likely hung its head and neck down like an enormous eeyore. This posture implies that Sarmientosaurus may have eaten much lower-lying plants than other sauropods. The correlation between inner ear structure and head posture has been questioned in previous studies. As a hypsilopodontid or other basal ornithopod, Notohypsilophodon would have been a bipedal herbivore. Its size was not estimated in the describing article, but as most adult hypsilophodonts were 1 to 2 meters long, this genus would probably have been of similar size. It would have had to rely upon sharp senses, quick reactions, and fast running to stay out of the mouths of predatory dinosaurs such as abelisaurs that were roaming around South America at the same time. Based upon fossil remains first discovered in 1980, Xenotarsosaurus was named because of the complete fusion between the astragalus and calcaneum bones of the ankle, something that is quite unusual for a theropod dinosaur. At the time of the original description, the rear leg of Xenotarsosaurus was shown to share some similarities with the better-known Carnotaurus, logically leading to the identification of the genus as an abelisaurid. However, a 1989 study chorea led to an alternative notion that Xenotarsosaurus may in fact be an indeterminate Neoceratosaurian theropod. Monospecific bone beds suggest Anaxosaurus was gregarious, and that this behavior gave it a selective advantage over competitors in its paleo environment. The hypothesis suggesting gregarious behavior is supported by the taphonomic association of individuals from the Bajo Barreal Formation and evidence garnered from analysis of its bone histology. The authors of this study noted that this particular assemblage is only the second known body fossil association of small, coelurosaurian theropods discovered in South America. Anaxosaurus is likely to have exhibited gregariousness only during a specific interval of its life, most likely when it was a subadult.